Virtual stage, but the spotlight dim. Many clicking past, ain't feeling his hymn. Waiting for the moment, blow up like a piston. Haters gonna hate, but persistence gonna glisten. Hold tight, 20 turn to 100 someday. Laugh in their face, shouting, who wants some pay? on the Copper Show.
What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up? What up, Twitch? What up, PETA? What up, bots? What up, lurkers? What up, tiny people in my chatterino? It's your boy. Happy Thursday, everybody. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday to you. Sorry, just doing a couple things here real quick. Do. Do. Okay. All right. Let us get into the news. Hi, Stampy. Hold on. His lordship is here. A little morning snack. Probably. Time to get some snacks. Show off the chunkiness. Get some scritches. And then go back to sleeping somewhere. Is that right, buddy? Yes, you have, Michael. Yes, you have. What up, Ghost? All right, let's do some news. Excuse me. We'll start off with a thing that was discussed in the hi. Want to come over? This was being discussed in the Discord last night, so I wanted to make sure we got to it. So we're going to get to it first. Because a lot of noise is going to be made about this. And I think a critical analysis of it is important. Can I help you? I have work to do. What, do you want a couple more snacks? Hold on, sorry. Okay. So, Time Magazine, MIT. ChatGPT may be eroding critical thinking skills, according to a new MIT study. Does ChatGPT harm critical thinking abilities? A new study from researchers at MIT's Media Lab has returned some concerning results. The study divided 54 subjects, 18 to 39-year-olds from the Boston area, into 3 groups and asked them to write several SAT essays using OpenAI's ChatGPT, Google search engine, and nothing at all, respectively. Researchers used an EEG to record the writer's brain activity across 32 regions and found that of the 3 groups, ChatGPT users had the lowest brain engagement and consistently underperformed at neural, linguistic, and behavioral levels. Over the course of several months, ChatGPT users got lazier with each subsequent essay, often resorting to copy and paste by the end of the study. And this is my I have it right here, Michael. And yes, PETA, 54 people in a single area is, I mean, that's a study. It's technically a study. The paper suggests that users of LLMs, morning Barky DJ, usage of LLMs could actually harm learning, especially for younger users. The paper has not yet been peer reviewed, and its sample size is relatively small. But its paper's main author, Natalia Kozmina, felt it was important to release the findings to elevate concerns that as society increasingly relies upon LLMs for immediate convenience, long-term brain development may be sacrificed in the process. What up, Fancy Pudding? What really motivated me to put it out now before waiting for a full peer review is that I am afraid in 6 to 8 months there will be some policymaker who decides, let's do GPT kindergarten. I think that would be absolutely bad and detrimental. Developing brains are at the highest risk. So, you have a small group in a single location, and rather than wait for peer review, you put out the information now because of your fears. Very good science being done here. The MIT Media Lab has recently devoted significant resources to studying different impacts of generative AI models. Studies from earlier this year found, for example, found that generally, the more time users spend talking to ChatGPT, the lonelier they feel. Take a look at that one. Joint studies from OpenAI and MIT found links between loneliness and ChatGPT use. Higher chatbot usage translates to higher loneliness. New studies found that generally, the more time users spend talking to ChatGPT, the lonelier they feel. The connection was made as part of 2 yet to be peer-reviewed studies, one done at OpenAI analyzing over 40 million ChatGPT interactions and targeted user surveys, another at MIT Media Lab following participants' ChatGPT use for 4 weeks. MIT's study identified several ways talking to ChatGPT, whether through text or voice, can affect a person's emotional experience, beyond the general finding that higher use led to heightened loneliness and reduced socialization. For example, participants who already trusted the chatbot and tended to get emotionally attached in human relationships felt lonelier and more emotionally dependent on ChatGPT during the study. Those effects were less severe with ChatGPT voice mode, though particularly if ChatGPT spoke in a neutral tone. Discussing personal topics also tended to lead to loneliness in the short term, and interestingly, speaking to ChatGPT about more general topics was more likely to increase emotional dependence. Woo! The big finding from OpenAI's study was that having emotional conversations with ChatGPT is still not common. Emotionally expressive interactions were present in a large percentage of usage for only a small group of the heavy advanced voice mode users we studied. That suggests that even if MIT's findings are as concerning as they are unsurprising, they are not exactly widespread outside of a small group of power users. Is it possible, right? Hey, maybe they controlled for all this, but is it possible that people who are lonelier for some reason, I don't know, gestures broadly at everything, are the ones who are seeking some kind of interaction and are the ones who might have a more intense emotional conversation and relationship with advanced voice mode ChatGPT? Is that possible? Right? That the findings could in fact be indicating the inverse of this scenario rather than the scenario as expressed. I don't know. I didn't do a study. There are important limitations to MIT Lab and OpenAI's research. Like both studies covered a short period of time, 1 month for MIT, 28 days for OpenAI, and MIT not having a control group to compare to. These studies do add more evidence to something that seemed intuitively true for a while now. Talking to AI has a psychological impact on humans doing the talking. It feels right. All right, back to the original. What up, Cosmic? We just got started. You did miss Stampy, though. Stampy was Cosmina, who has been a full-time research scientist at MIT Media Lab since 2021, wanted to specifically explore the impacts of using AI for schoolwork because more and more students are using AI. So she and her colleagues instructed subjects to write 20-minute essays based on SAT prompts, including about the ethics of philanthropy and the pitfalls of having too many choices. The group that wrote essays using ChatGPT all delivered extremely similar essays that lacked original thought, relying on the same expressions and ideas. Two English teachers who assessed the essays called them largely soulless. Where's the soul of your SAT essay? The EEGs revealed low executive control and attentional engagement. And by their third essay, many of the writers simply gave the prompt to ChatGPT and had it do almost all of the work. It was more like, just give me the essay, refine the sentence, edit it, and I'm done, Cosmina said. Yeah, almost like we shouldn't just do that. Almost like there's a deeper level to engage with when it comes to learning, right? That learning in and of itself is the value. And that having these students engage with the concept of learning as a desirable thing to do is the way to go. Excuse me 1 second. A package was just delivered and it might rain. So I'm going to kick you back to the opening scene and I'll be right back. Just less than a minute. All right. Appreciate your patience. Where were we? The EEGs revealed low executive control and attentional engagement. By their third, oh, we did all that. The brain only group, conversely, showed the highest neural activity, especially in alpha, theta, and delta bands, which are associated with creativity, ideation, memory load, and semantic processing. Researchers found this group was more engaged and curious and claimed ownership and expressed higher satisfaction with their essays. The third group, which used Google search, also expressed high satisfaction and active brain function. The difference here is noticeable because many people now search for information within AI chatbots as opposed to Google search. After writing the 3 essays, the subjects were then asked to rewrite one of their previous efforts, but the ChatGPT group had to do so without the tool, while the brain only group could now use ChatGPT. First group remembered little of their own essays and showed weaker alpha and theta brainwaves, which likely reflected a bypassing of deep memory processes. The task was executed, and you could say it was efficient and convenient. But as we show in the paper, you basically didn't integrate any of it into your memory network. The second group, in contrast, performed well, exhibiting a significant increase in brain connectivity across all EEG frequency bands. This gives rise to the hope that AI, if used properly, could enhance learning as opposed to diminishing it. Yes. And that's like, it's an entire process. It's a holistic process by which we update our educational model. And yeah, I am the first one to say you should not just plop somebody in front of a chatbot and ask them for an output. That's what work is for. If you want to educate people, you need to get them interested in education. And guess what? A lot of the shit you're trying to teach people, they're not interested in because they don't feel it has any particular relevance to them. And it is up to the teacher to do that. And I don't put that on the teachers, I put that on the way that we have constructed the educational system. This is the first pre-review paper that Kuzmina has ever released. Oh, cool. Her team did submit it for peer review, but did not want to wait for approval, which can take 8 or more months, to raise attention to an issue that Kuzmina believes is affecting children now. This is probably true. Education on how we use these tools and promoting the fact that your brain does need to develop in a more analog way is absolutely critical. We need to have active legislation in sync and, more importantly, be testing these tools before we implement them. Yeah, I agree. We don't do that. We just go ahead and do stuff, do a shitty implementation, have political parties involved in how implementation is done, have issues of funding, and then we just kind of hand wave it all and then complain about, that our kids are getting dumber or some horseshit. Psychiatrist Dr. Zishan Khan, who treats children and adolescents, says he sees many kids who rely heavily on AI for their schoolwork. From a psychiatric standpoint, I see an over reliance on these LLMs can have an unintended psychological and cognitive consequences, especially for young people whose brains are still developing. These neural connections that help you accessing information, the memory of facts, and the ability to be resilient, all that is going to weaken. Ironically, upon the paper's release, several social media users ran it through LLMs in order to summarize it and post their findings online. Kuzmina had been expecting that people would do this, so she inserted a couple of AI traps into the paper. So, like, why would you insert AI traps into the paper? Is it possible that you were looking for specific outcomes in the course of your research? Because the search for specific outcomes in the course of research can flavor the way that you interpret your findings. This is known. AI traps into the paper, such as instructing LLMs to only read this table below, thus ensuring that LLMs would return only limited insight from the paper. She also found that LLMs hallucinated a key detail. Nowhere in her paper did she specify the version of ChatGPT she used, but AI summaries declared that the paper was trained on GPT 4o. We specifically wanted to see that because we're pretty sure the LLM would hallucinate on that. Tasmina says that she and her colleagues are now working on another similar paper testing brain activity in software engineering and programming with and without AI, and says that so far the results are even worse. That study, she says, could have implications for the many companies who hope to reduce their entry level coders with AI. Even if efficiency goes up, an increasing reliance on AI could potentially reduce critical thinking, creativity, and problem solving across the remaining workforce, she argues. Scientific studies examining the impact of AI are still nascent and developing. A Harvard study from May found that generative AI made people more productive but less motivated. And also last month, MIT distanced itself from another paper written by a doctoral student in its economic program, which suggested that AI could substantially improve worker productivity. OpenAI did not respond to a request for comment. Last year, in collaboration with Wharton Online, the company released guidance for educators to leverage generative AI in teaching. Last year, in collaboration with Wharton Online, the company released guidance for educators to leverage generative AI in teaching. Did you? That's what they wrote here. This is Time fucking magazine, right? So, in Time fucking magazine, they wrote the same sentence twice at the end of the article. Nice job proofreading. So, yeah. I don't think it's controversial at this point to suggest that um this researcher may have had competing views. But I'm sure people are going to use this study to make hay out of. What else we got? AI copyright anxiety will hold back creativity. MIT. Every original creation is an act of generative recombination. Why should the use of AI be held to a different standard? Last fall, while attending a board meeting in Amsterdam, I had a few free hours and made an impromptu visit to the Van Gogh Museum. I often steal time for visits like this, a perk of global business travel for which I am grateful. Wandering the galleries, I found myself before The Courtesan after Eisen, painted in 1887. Van Gogh had based it on a Japanese woodblock print by Kisai Eisen, which he encountered in the magazine Paris Illustré. He explicitly copied and reinterpreted Eisen's composition, adding his own vivid border of frogs, cranes, and bamboo. As I stood there, I imagined the painting as a product of a generative AI model prompted with the query how would Van Gogh reinterpret a Japanese woodblock in the style of Keisai Eisen? And I wondered if Van Gogh had used such an AI tool to stimulate his imagination, would Eisen or his heirs have had a strong legal claim? If Van Gogh were working today, that might be the case. 2 years ago, the U.S. Supreme Court found that Andy Warhol had infringed upon the photographer Lynn Goldsmith's copyright by using her photo of the musician Prince for a series of silkscreens. The court said the works were not sufficiently transformative to constitute fair use, a provision in the law that allows for others to make limited use of copyrighted material. A few months later, at the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston, I visited a Salvador Dali exhibition. I had always thought of Dali as a true original genius who conjured surreal visions out of thin air. But the show included several Dutch engravings, including Peter Bruegel the Elder's, no relation, Seven Deadly Sins, 1558, that clearly influenced Dali's Eight Mortal Sins suite, 1966. The stylistic differences are significant, but the lineage is undeniable. Dali himself cited Bruegel as a surrealist forerunner, someone who tapped into the same dream logic and bizarre forms that Dali celebrated. Suddenly, I was seeing Dali not as an original, but as a reinterpreter. Should Bruegel have been flattered that Dali built on his work, or should he have sued him for making it so grotesque? Morning read. During a later visit to a Picasso exhibit in Milan, I came across a famous informational diagram by the art historian Alfred Barr, mapping how modernist movements like Cubism evolved from earlier artistic traditions. Picasso is often held up as one of modern art's most original and influential figures, but Barr's chart made plain that many artists he drew from, Goya, El Greco, Cezanne, African sculptors. This made me wonder if a generative AI model had been fed all those inputs, might it have produced Cubism? Could it have generated the next great artistic breakthrough? These experiences, spread across 3 cities and centered on 3 iconic artists, coalesced into a broader reflection I'd already begun. I'd recently spoken with Daniel Ek, the founder of Spotify, about how restrictive copyright laws are in music. Song arrangement and lyrics enjoy longer protections than most pharmaceutical patents. Eck sits at the leading edge of this debate, and he observed that generative AI already produces an astounding range of music. It's subjective, fancy pudding. And which Picasso? Because Picasso did a whole bunch of different styles over the course of his life and career. Unless you're talking about the person himself, in which case, sure, I have no idea. Some of it is good, much of it is terrible, but nearly all of it borrows from the patterns and structures of existing work. Musicians already routinely sue one another for borrowing from previous works. How will the law adapt to a form of artistry that's driven by prompts and precedent, built entirely on a corpus of existing material? Nice. Good job, Cosmic. And the questions don't stop there. Who exactly owns the outputs of a generative model? The user who crafted the prompt, the developer who built the model, the artist whose works were ingested to train it. Him as a person? Okay, fair enough. Will the social forces that shape artistic standing, critics, curators, tastemakers, still hold sway? Tastemakers. Tastemakers. What a fascinating world we live in. Or will a new AI era hierarchy emerge? If every artist has always borrowed from others, is AI generative recombination really so different? And in such a litigious culture, how long can copyright law hold its current form? The U.S. Copyright Office has begun to tackle the thorny issue of ownership and says the generative outputs can be copyrighted if they are sufficiently human authored, but it's playing catch up in a rapidly evolving field. And also, sufficiently is not clearly laid out. Different industries are responding in different ways. The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences recently announced that filmmakers' use of generative AI would not disqualify them from Oscar contention, and that they wouldn't be required to disclose when they'd use the technology. Several acclaimed films, including Oscar winner The Brutalist, incorporated AI into their production process. The music world, meanwhile, continues to wrestle with its definitions of originality. Consider the recent lawsuit against Ed Sheeran. In 2016, he was sued by the heirs of Ed Townsend, co writer of Marvin Gaye's Let's Get It On, who claimed that Sheeran's Thinking Out Loud copied the earlier song's melody, harmony, and rhythm. When the case finally went to trial in 2023, Sheeran brought a guitar to the stand. He played the disputed 4 chord progression, whatever that is. I don't know chord progression, and wove together a mashup of songs built on the same foundation. Point was clear. These are the elemental units of songwriting. After a brief deliberation, the jury found Sheeran not liable. Reflecting after the trial, Sheeran said, "These chords are common building blocks. No one owns them, oh, my sweet summer child, or the way they're played, in the same way no one owns the color blue. You haven't met my man who owns a particular color pink and a particular color of black, etc." Exactly. Whether it's expressed with a guitar, paintbrush, or generative algorithm, creativity has always built on what came before. I don't consider this essay to be great art, but I should be transparent. I relied extensively on ChatGPT while drafting it. I began with a rough outline, notes typed on my phone in museum galleries, and transcripts from conversations with colleagues. I uploaded older writing samples to give the model a sense of my voice. Then I used the tool to shape a draft, which I revised repeatedly by hand and with help from an editor over several weeks. There may still be phrases or sentences in here that came directly from the model, but I've iterated so much that I no longer know which ones. Nor, I suspect, could any reader or an AI detector. In fact, Grammarly found that 0% of this text appeared to be AI generated. Many people today remain uneasy about using these tools. They worry it's cheating or feeling embarrassed to admit that they sought such help. I've moved past that. I assume all my students at Harvard Business School are using AI. I assume most academic research begins with literature scanning and scanned and synthesized by these models. And I assume that many of the essays I now read in leading publications were shaped at least in part, by generative tools. Why? Because we are professionals, and professionals adopt efficiency tools early. Generative AI joins a long lineage that includes the word processor, the search engine, and editing tools like Grammarly. The question is no longer who is using AI, but why wouldn't you? I recognize the counterargument, notably put forward by Nicholas Thompson, CEO of The Atlantic, that content produced with AI assistance should not be eligible for copyright protection because it blurs the boundaries of authorship. I understand the instinct. AI recombines vast corpora of pre existing work, and the results can feel derivative or machine like. But when I reflect on the history of creativity, Van Gogh reworking Eisen, Dali channeling Bruegel, Sheeran defending common music DNA, I'm reminded that recombination has always been central to creation. The economist Joseph Schumpeter, Schumpeter famously wrote that innovation is less about invention than the novel reassembly of existing ideas. If we try to trace and assign ownership to every prior influence, we'd grind creativity to a halt. From the outset, I knew the tools had transformative potential. What I underestimated was how quickly they would become ubiquitous across industries and in my own daily work. Our copyright system has never required total originality. It demands meaningful human input. Its standards should apply in the age of AI as well. When people thoughtfully engage with these models, choosing prompts, curating inputs, shaping the result, they are creating. The medium has changed, but the impulse remains the same to build something new from the materials we inherit. And Nitin Noria is the George F. Baker Jr. professor at Harvard Business School and its former dean. He is also the chair of Thrive Capital, an early investor in several prominent AI firms, including OpenAI. So you can definitely say that he has a certain bias, right? Hot take. Michael with the hot take. Fresh hot take straight to your mouth. Hot take. If you need to have the use of AI disclosed during the creative process, that's indicative of the technology advancing to the point where there is essentially no uncanny valley. Its use in such cases shouldn't detract from the creative value of the overall project. I agree. I agree. I feel the requirement to disclose use of AI in the creation of anything um, poisons the well. Right? Like, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out a good metaphor. You know how much I love metaphors. Um, so as Fancy Pudding put it earlier, Picasso was awful, and that may be the case. I know very little about Picasso other than the works that Picasso did because I don't tend to concern myself, and it and in these times we be getting challenged on the daily about separating the art from the artist, right? And I don't know whether or not we should. I still don't. Um, a couple weeks ago, a friend of mine started playing the Bigot Wizard game, right? Harry Potter and you have a Turf Author, whatever that game was. And remember when it dropped, there was a big hullabaloo around it, and um Hassan, for instance, wanted to play it and didn't because he was getting shit from his community. Um and I'm in that, right? Like that was an easy one for me. I think Joanne is terrible, and her, benefiting from being terrible is a problem, in my opinion. um, but it dropped for free as part of, like, I think it was Xbox, right? It was added to Xbox or PC, like games you can play for free. And my friend knew that I had, opinions on whether or not it should be engaged with, and he was like, it's free, so I'm not supporting them, right? Game Pass. So it's free. I'm not supporting anyone, it's free, right? And I'm not playing it anywhere. I'm just playing it for um my own benefit. And I was like, "Hey, it's entirely up to you. I can't tell you whether or not you should play it, right? I can just express my opinion and you go from there." And he has, like, one of them mobile gym jams, right? Like for his phone or whatever. Some shit that allowed him to play on like a Steam Deck type scenario. And within a few minutes, we're in a group of people. Within a few minutes, he was talking to another person about how neat the game is, right? And I was like, and I just pointed it out. Is, again, I'm not telling you what to do, but you see right there, you're advertising the product, right? Right there, in spite of the fact that, you got it for free and you're just playing it for yourself, you're telling other people about it. And that's how that works, right? Like, you can make the claim that my playing of this game has no effect on anything, right? The game has already been made, etc., etc., and it's just not accurate, right? Anything I play, I'm advertising, right? There's currently questions around Minecraft. Because I believe because Microsoft, and Microsoft because BDS, right? And so, like, I haven't engaged with Minecraft, even though I bought Minecraft fucking a million years ago. But I know, and I haven't played it on screen, on stream. And it's easy, right? Like, I'll just play some of the other games that I have that I haven't played, or, like, I'll bust out some Wingspan, or I'll bust out some Soval, or I'll play some what up, old lobster. Um and then I'll play Space Marine 2. Now, Space Marine 2, that's like that's making a hero out of an instrument of fascist empire, right? Like, should I not play Space Marine 2? Probably, maybe not. I don't know. It's a game. I had this going all the way back because I was playing, what was that? Days Gone? Days Gone is a zombie game you play on the motorcycle. Um, and like I think I can't remember if there was just something questionable to me about the way that the what a beef that the zombies were in that particular game, right? And I think I probably had seen somebody's fucking video essay about zombies and their portrayal and what they're meant to represent. Now, any kind of media analysis like that is open to subjectivity, right? Like, and I think if I'm recalling correctly, I ended up sometime after that not agreeing with the person's take after thinking about it for a while. Yeah, media literacy and understand the Imperium is supposed to be satirical. Yeah, true. We can agree there's no ethical consumption, therefore I'm just buying whatever makes my life fulfilling. Like, and that's the thing, right? Like, I'm I got Space Marine 2. I actually didn't buy it. My friend with cancer, what up, Big Ben? My friend with cancer is the one who bought it so that we could play a game together, right? And so it's like, and now I'm trying to get my other friend to play, but he's like slow at getting the technology all set up because he's got it on PlayStation and he needs to be able to connect through Discord so we can talk to each other. Technically, you don't. You can play that game without conversation, but like one of the points is hanging out with my friends and having a conversation. Yeah, and that's where I'm at, Reed, right? Like just because there's no ethical consumption doesn't mean I want to beat baby seals to death for a nice pair of boots. You know what I mean? What up, walking stick? I'm just like how deep into any particular thing should you dig? Like is there some requirement? Some ethical requirement? Can I enjoy a Picasso Cubist painting knowing I'm defaulting to Fancy Pudding and Reed? You appear to both be in unison on that Picasso was a terrible person. So I'll defer to that. Is there like, do I need to look at an artist's life before appreciating their art? This is the death of the author, separating the artist from the art kind of thing. Because I know I do it. I don't watch a fucking Mel Gibson movie anymore. I can't remember the last time I watched a Mel Gibson movie. Um, I did watch a Kevin Spacey movie, but that was Baby Driver, and someone like some friends of mine were like huge fans of Baby Driver, and I wanted to try it out. And in my opinion, that movie is like the director does a great job, James Gunn does a great job of incorporating music into their movie. Tarantino does that well, and whoever the director for Baby Driver does that well as well. Like it's great, right? I think that a soundtrack should be part of the movie. You know what I mean? I really wanted to like it, Reed, but what's his name? Jamie Foxx's character was just so over the top as to like I couldn't take it serious anymore. right? Like that fucking that fucking character didn't make any goddamn sense within the greater movie, right? Because Kevin Spacey is supposed to be like, serious. These are serious people doing serious crime, and it's down to the second. And then you bring in this person who's an obvious loose cannon. It doesn't make any sense. Should I quit my job because the organization I work for has DoD contracts? I may or may not support a political organization I have no direct interaction with, but don't support. As with most things in my life, it's on a spectrum. I mean, I don't know. I do not know. We started talking about art again. This is what happens. I wasn't a big fan of his portrayal either. I would have preferred Denzel or somebody who can embody a more serious role. I think Denzel is amazing. The Washington Post. Democracy dies behind a paywall. Popular services keep adding AI. Some customers want them to stop. How many? What percentage? People are upset over the quality of AI products and the loss of human jobs. Is it enough to slow the tech down? For 581 days in a row, artist Karen Crow dutifully opened language learning app Duolingo and practiced her French. For the past decade, she used audiobook service Audible to listen to books while working and traveling. But at the end of May, Crow canceled both subscriptions over the company's decision to use more artificial intelligence. Language learning app Duolingo said in April it was replacing some contractors with AI to do more than double the number of language lessons it offers. Audiobook company Audible, which is owned by Amazon, said in May it was adding AI narration options that publishers could use to create audiobooks. Amazon founder Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post. New ID for an AI tool. If it detects a paywall, it just makes up random bullshit and fills in the blanks. There you go. I've been very loyal and spent a lot of money on these services, said Crow51. The Pittsburgh based resident worries about AI's negative impact on the environment and what happens to culture when creativity is taken over by automation. If enough people leave, hopefully they kind of rethink that. Consumers and creative professionals such as Crow are voicing their discontent at the way some companies are using more AI, especially when it replaces jobs typically handled by humans. All jobs are typically handled by humans over the course of history, right? Maybe not now, but whatever you're doing, at one point in time, it was done by humans and that was replaced by automation. But again, part of the outcry is that like all of that was fine because it didn't affect me. Right? Now that it affects me, it's a problem. In thousands of comments and posts about Audible and Duolingo that the Post reviewed across social media, including on Reddit, YouTube, Threads, and TikTok, people threatened to cancel subscriptions, voiced concern for human translators and narrators, and said AI creates inferior experiences. Does it? It destroys the purpose of humanity. We have so many amazing abilities to create art and music and just appreciate what's around us, says Kayla Ellsworth, a 21-year-old college student. Some of the things that are most important to us are being replaced by things that are not real. Denzel Washington should arguably be included in anyone's top 10 actors of all time list. Man on Fire is an amazing piece of cinema. I can't think of a movie he was in that I didn't like. Training Day is awesome. Um, I enjoyed Gladiator too, right? First of all, Pedro's in it, and what's not to like? Second of all, Denzel being like, Denzel is wild in fucking Gladiator 2. Uh, since ChatGPT launched at the end of 2022, AI chatbots have taken off in popularity, with people using them for brainstorming. I hate bad AI that are an additional firewall between you and a rep. Like when I have to call Spectrum with an issue and you have to go through 5 minutes of diagnostics with an AI that I already did before, I can get a human who actually can help me. I feel that, right? I feel that. The last time I had to contact Spectrum, it was the same thing, right? Um, I had already reset my modem. It's like I already know all the basic steps, right? But this is the side effect that you and I are more technical users. We know what to do. You know, you reset your modem, you reset your Wi-Fi, you restart your computer. Have you tried turning it off and turn it back on again? All those basic steps, like they're the first thing we do. We don't even make an attempt to contact anybody until we have already resolved all the really basic issues. And only then are we reaching out to to Spectrum to solve the problem. Now, I did have a thing where what I needed was for it to reset my modem, and the AI was able to do that without having to contact a human. So during that exchange, it actually did save me a bunch of time because it just did the thing that I needed to do. I needed it to do rather than having to go through all the things. But I can still understand that pain. Since ChatGPT launched at the end of 2022, AI chatbots have taken off in popularity, with people using them for brainstorming, internet searches, companionship, and therapy. Many companies joined the rush and started to wedge AI into their existing products. Um, you could say wedge, right? You could also say add. Every word you put in your article is a choice. With generative AI, I wonder if we will have adaptive IVR systems in the future. If the system knows you recently called and tried the basics, maybe the AI will automatically be able to detect that and skip those questions during subsequent calls. And it'd be nice. Something they could do. Um, Zoom offers AI summaries of conference calls, and Microsoft Office apps have AI around every corner. Waiting to help write a letter or make a presentation. I mean, there you go. Apparently, we can do it. Behind the scenes, companies are using AI to take over more human tasks such as customer service work and coding. While many AI tools are a hit, integration doesn't always go smoothly when people feel the technology tries to take over human tasks. Education tech company Chegg received backlash after announcing it would use more AI, but at the same time, it has lost customers to AI, such as Google Summaries and ChatGPT. Google pulled an Olympics ad that showed a girl using AI to help write a letter to her favorite athlete after backlash. In 2022, Google added AI narration options for audiobooks, followed by Apple's digital narration feature in 2023. They were similarly met with pushback online, but are smaller players in audiobooks compared with Audible. Throw a potato wedge in. I mean, it's never a bad time for a potato. So here's the thing with feedback, right? When you put a thing out into the world, you're going to have people who are so happy with the use of your product that they're going to say something, or people who have some other incentive to provide feedback, right? Like, you know, you had a really good experience at the mechanic, and, you know, you understand that mechanics are one of those things where, like, people, you know, can I trust this fucking mechanic? Because I don't know shit about cars, right? Like, and people appreciate getting, you know, a recommendation. Big time for the mechanics, for instance. And then you have the majority of customers who are both satisfied and somewhat dissatisfied with your product, who don't say anything because it's not worth their time. There's no driver for that. And then you have the seriously unhappy. And the seriously unhappy can be they are actually unhappy with your product. They are unhappy with the fact that your product doesn't do the thing that they wanted your product to do, even though your product doesn't do that thing. And then there are people who are unhappy, you know, because you have changed the nature of your product up to and including adding AI to it. So the vast majority of people are not reflected in feedback. And I can't imagine that there are many, if any, people who are like, hey, I think that Google's AI summaries at the top of search are good. They save me time, you know. I have yet to see any hallucination issues that like weren't rectified, you know, other than like the glue on pizza and shit like that. I think you're doing a good job. You should keep it up. Nobody's writing that. Maybe somebody is. Somebody's doing it, right? Bayesian. Somebody is doing it, but it's a low probability of someone doing that. But the number of people who, oh, it says AI on it. This is terrible. It's destroying humanity, and you should feel bad and hate yourself and rah 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 rah. And people do that without even looking at your product. I see the stats for my videos, right, on YouTube. You get to see stuff. I am confident that the people who commented on my YouTube videos about, you know, how terrible AI was or anything else like that, or how like I'm wrong and Anthony Fantano or whatever other creator, that they're actually right and I'm wrong, even though they didn't watch my video. Right? So I personally, I understand this. We have a saying in our group, right? Loud does not mean you're right. Because sometimes people get loud, right? I actually got loud this past Sunday. I was right, because I was reading the rules correctly, and the two people that I was arguing with were not reading the rule correctly. They misinterpreted the way a sentence went, and this is called fun, right? But I did get loud, but I generally do not get loud. I don't like being gaslit, right? When you're telling me that what I'm reading is not what I'm reading. What up, Princess Kimberly? I react poorly to being gaslit, right? Here's the thing. If you and I are playing a game together and we're in competition with each other and you make a move that takes something away from me and gives it to you, do not say sorry to me because you are not sorry, right? We're playing a game. The whole point is for you to beat me in the game, right? Like, I understand that. I knew what I signed up for when I opened the door. Don't tell me you're sorry because you're not actually sorry. I do not like being gaslit. I will fucking come for your throat if you fucking gaslight me. So, this is the thing. And I got one friend, like, and we're working on that, right? He took my, like, in the Oath game, if you have more artifacts than more artifacts and banners, it doesn't matter what they are and what they do. You just have to understand that if you have more than anybody else and are a citizen, then you actually win the game if the chancellor wins the game because you become the successor. And that's what I did. But the first time I went and I got an artifact, the homie who was the chancellor was like, I have this dude and I can roll a die, and if I get this, then I get the artifact instead, right? And a relic. I think they're relics in that game. And he took my relic. I had just taken it from somebody else. I did all the hard work, and then he just yoinked it, right? Like as I was collecting it. And he was like, sorry. And I was like, you're not sorry, right? Like, you're trying to win the game. You're trying to prevent me from winning the game. You are not sorry. Do not say that you are sorry. Even if I am irritated in the moment, right? It's not personal, it's in the context of the game. And all it did was change up. Now I'm taking the banners, which his power doesn't affect. So now I'm just taking everybody's banners, right? Like, I will adapt, but don't gaslight me. What the fuck were we talking about? AI. Oh yeah, loud being right and people on the internet, right? Like this is I don't know whether or not it's true, but this is what I heard regarding how YouTube used to have a 5-star system and then they changed it to just thumbs up and thumbs down. Was because, according to YouTube, which, take it however you want, but the majority of people are either 5-star or 1-star people. So functionally, a thumbs up or thumbs down is equivalent to that. You know what I mean? Well, it was sorry because, like, it's where friendly compassion and empathy rubs up against competition. You know what I mean? As a person, my friend is disappointed. Trans women, CEO of trans women. My friend saw me doing a thing that I wanted to do and then saw that, like, I had been denied the thing that I was trying to do. So my friend was sorry that I did not achieve the thing that I wanted to achieve. But my competitor is the one who did it, right? So you can't, the thing about being sorry is that you cannot intentionally do a thing and then be sorry for it. You know what I mean? Sorry means I fucked up, I made a mistake, and I'm apologizing and I will change my behavior, right? Because I don't want to do that again, right? It's an apology. If you say sorry and you aren't actually sorry, then you shouldn't say sorry. I'm sorry for how I made you feel, but I wouldn't do it again. Like, so just don't say sorry, right? Like within it, because, I can get competitive within the game and I don't like being gaslit. And when my competitive gene is up, then I am like I am more likely to take it poorly, and that will cause me to have a bad time. Just if you beat me, you beat me, dude. Like, I mean, it is what it is. Like, I'm just gonna look to try and prevent in the future. And that's what I did. I immediately adapted in the game. I understood something new, right? That if I attempted to win by collecting the most relics, I was going to. I am definitely not a sore loser. I am absolutely not a sore loser. Because the entire point of the game is for everyone to have a good time. I win rarely, actually, in a lot of games because I play with people who are better than me because I'm trying to get better. If you're playing people you beat all the time, you're in the wrong room. Anyways. With Duolingo and Audible, you're choosing to use this. This is a personal pleasure you are paying for a product to get. This is a personal pleasure you are paying for a product to get. Is an interesting sentence. Said Alice E. Marwick, director of research at Data and Society. In both cases, this feels like a sense of loss, that there is something about these products that was interesting or special that's lost to AI. I just stopped going to my AI user group because I was seemingly the only informed user. It has to hurt, right? and it's like most of us stand at like the almost a middle point, right? Like, on one hand are the people who are anti-AI, and anti-AI in that they don't know anything, right? They have their opinions, they do confirmation bias, they're very upset, and nothing you can tell them is going to change that. And then there's these fuckers over here who are like so head up ass about the AI, right? That they're fucking antagonizing the art folks, and they're fucking, just being general jackasses, and thinking that the thing can do stuff that it definitely cannot at this point in time. So it's like, what the fuck? And it's like, could everybody just shut the fuck up? Could everyone just shut the fuck up for like 10 minutes, please? Yeah, not to stroke my own dick in the street, but it's no fun being the smartest person in the room. I mean, to some people it is. To some people, they want that. And if you don't want that, I think that that's a good thing, right? I think that there's a balance. There should be people smarter than you in the room that you can learn from, and people who are, many crime bunnies around smarter, and people who are like less smart, less informed about the subject in the room that you can teach, right? Like, it should be this flow of process, but somebody has to be that person who's the smartest person in the room, hanging out with all us people who don't know shit, right? Like, otherwise, like, what are we supposed to do? Then we just default become the smartest people in the room, and then we leave. You know what I mean? There's a balance there. I understand that, Globus. I play desktop games with people that beat me 75% of the time. I still do win 25% of the time, so they are better at it, but not out of my league. Yeah. Wingspan. I play Wingspan on maximum difficulty, and I win like 80% of the time against the AI, right? Like, I'm not looking to play with randos. I play Dune Imperium on the PC, and I win, like, I've won once on medium difficulty. I've won once, and I played I don't know how many fucking games. I played. Where's Dune Imperium? I have 27.1 hours of playtime in Dune Imperium, and I have won once. I have 45 hours of playtime on Wingspan on PC, and again, I win about 80% of the time. but it's always competitive, right? Like last night, the last game I played, I lost. It was a tie, and they beat me on tiebreaker. Oh, I love that kind of shit. Blueprints. Blueprint. I see what they did there. People have at least a well-formulated anti-AI I can respect. Absolutely, and that's why I include people in this community. There are people in this community who are anti-AI, but they are well-informed, right? And that is to be respected. You can be anti-AI. I don't give a shit. I just hate bad arguments. It's annoying as shit, right? I can't argue with a Joe Rogan. I can't argue with a fucking, with people who just throw shit at the wall or kick over the pieces and shit on the chessboard. Like, we can't do this. Oh, it's one of those kind of games. Is it like I have looked at Dune Spice Wars a few times as it's come up on sale, but like the reviews throw me, right? I can't get a good feel for the game. And this is kind of the thing, like people were talking about it's slower, which I'm not necessarily against a game with slower pacing, right? Like, I'm a base builder when it comes to RTS. um I am going to, like, I want to build all the things, right? I don't like Zerg Rush and any of that kind of horseshit. um I like building the base, building all the things, advancing my army, taking a spot, fortify that spot, take this spot, fortify that spot. That's how I like to roll in the game, right? Like, that's the way I played StarCraft, right? Like, not fucking how many actions per second can you do? And if you like that, that's cool, right? Like, I'm not yucking your yum. I'm just saying, for me, it's not what I wanted to do. Duolingo, back to the article. Duolingo built up an enthusiastic online following with irreverent videos starring its mascot, a green owl costume with a human inside. The owl has posted thirst traps, held a funeral, and hopped on every viral meme. After Duolingo's AI announcement, its social media comments filled with upset fans, many of whom said AI was already creating nonsensical translations. Was it? Maybe it was. I do not know. I don't have any data for that. In a statement, Duolingo said the company has always used AI and that it's part of a goal to make its tools universally available. This isn't about replacing people with AI. Our goal is to use AI to make Duolingo better and to allow our talented people to follow or to focus from the top. Our goal is to use AI to make Duolingo better and to allow our talented people to focus on creative work and solving big problems. We're hiring across all departments. Again, what Duolingo said was that they were cutting contractors, right? Employees and contractors are different. So people who say that Duolingo said that they were, going all in on AI, but then they pulled it all the way back once there was an outcry, that's not what happened. If you don't rush in multiplayer, you do not do well, which is why I don't play multiplayer, right? Like, unless I'm playing with my friends, right? And then I know tendencies, and we all kind of do base building. Like that, whenever we're playing any kind of area control game, right? There's your starting territory, and then there are all the territories that touch your starting territory, right? So my starting territory is mine, obviously. All the areas that touch my starting territory are also mine. Because if they're yours, you're right next to my home base, and that's unacceptable. And then after that, it starts to get different, right? Like it's negotiation, it's like, who can get there first, any of that kind of stuff. But home territory is mine. Every territory around my home territory is also mine. And I expect the same thing from you. You should not allow me to plunk an army next to your home base. That's a terrible decision on your part. People in creative jobs are already on edge about the role AI is playing in their fields. On sites such as Etsy, clearly AI generated art and other products are pushing out some original crafters who make a living on their creations, just as how those original crafters pushed out people who created one off items like myself, because they fulfilled the needs of the Etsy algorithm and the Etsy profit making, structure better than I could. AI is being used to write romance novels and coloring books, design logos, and make presentations. A group of high profile authors is currently suing Meta, for example, over the use of their work to train Llama, its open source AI models. There are a number of ongoing lawsuits against AI companies for training their systems on text, data, and images scraped from websites, writing, and art without the consent of authors, which the AI companies claim is fair use. Real quick, to anybody in the James gang who's also in chat, is there any updates in James's Discord that he might not be streaming today due to the ongoing Tito? I'm sorry? What in the fuck is this? Silicon Valley execs join the army as officers but won't have to attend boot camp. Oh my God. Like this is yeah, okay. So my mother was a nurse. My mother joined the Army Reserve as an officer right before she died. She did not have to go to boot camp. So that in and of itself is not unusual. Right? And okay, so it's only 4 at this point in time. What up, Maddie? Yeah. I can't remember if she joined as like a lieutenant or a captain or whatever. But it was like right there. Um but it was like right before she died. She didn't even have to go and do anything at that point in time. And that's I think that had something to do with the fact that her boyfriend was a veteran as well. Um But the army paid out the life insurance, which was appreciated at that point in time. Okay, so the U.S. military recently announced that 4 executives from some of the top tech companies in Silicon Valley have joined the Army Reserve as direct commission officers. Move is part of a push to speed up the adoption of technology in the military, but as the news outlet Task and Purpose points out, it's pretty unusual. It's not that unusual, right? Again, like now, Lieutenant Colonel, that is kind of unusual. So who do we got? Shyam Sankar, CTO at Palantir, Andrew Bosworth, CTO at Meta, Kevin Wheels, Chief Production Officer of OpenAI, and Bob McGrew, an advisor at Thinking Machines Lab and former Chief Research Officer for OpenAI. Yeah, so them being brought in as lieutenant colonels, that's high. So yeah, like, oh, they don't even have to do the direct commissioning course at Fort Benning. Okay, that's weird. Oh yeah. All right, let's check and see. All right, he isn't live yet, so we'll keep on keeping on for a little bit. The new reservists will serve for about 120 hours a year at standard. We'll have a lot of flexibility to work remotely. Yeah, they are definitely looking to blur the lines here. This is some shenanigans. There's a lot of patriotism that has been under the covers that I think is coming to light in the valley. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I love it here. It's just a fascinating. Yeah, that's the. It's only funny when I do it, Old Lobster. Right now, every claim again, all states are bastards. Right, I'm not a fan of states, and every time that the um that they make a claim like that, it's a confession. You know what I mean? They're just confessing to the behavior that they want to do themselves. Zoom, zip, and a wake up. Zoom, zip. Zoom, zip, and a wake up. Zoom, zip. Zoom, zip, and a wake up. Sorry, I'm just checking like mod channel and shit over there. Though it's distinctly possible that he'll just not stream and, you know, and just not take the time. And like, fuck, if a family member of mine died, I probably would forget to, let anybody know what's going on and just assume that they would assume, right? And so I'm gonna assume that it's the case that there will not be a stream from James today. Um, Unfortunately for me, that I still have shit I have to do, so I'm going to leave. Uh, yeah, I remember when Ferris died. I was, I was, I was. It sucked. What do y'all want? You want music? You want politics? First person to post in chat gets to decide. Politics. The music of politics. Well, then in that case, there's only one person I know who does the music of politics and the politics of music. Stick around for the raid. You should also stick around for Paradigm stream because Paradigm is awesome. I mean, people want creative shit. And there are very few people who are more creative and interesting and original than Paradigm. I'll be back tomorrow morning. Reminder: no stream tomorrow evening, and no stream Monday morning. But I will be back tomorrow morning. Remind you of that. In the meantime, drink your water, eat some food, take your meds if you forgot, and always remember that Shaggy loves you. And so do I. Be great.